write all of these songs for y'all for 30 years. I'm just trying to relax in the blessing, you know what I'm saying? I don't take this for granted, man. I am very thankful for the gift God has given me, man. And for y'all to fight for me all these years, keeping my shit alive, man. Fuck that! Stupid ass shit!
They didn't tell us that if you give up the man, you're going to take one of these things and it's worse and it will destroy your nation. They didn't give us that information. They made us think that it was some kind of glorified position to brag about the fact that I got my own job, my own credit card, my own car, so I don't need no man. I don't even know how we got that mixed up. Ain't none of that got nothing to do with being with no man. We have some serious relationship problems that nobody has been able to address us on because everybody wants to pretend that this is not going on. Over 60% of our women are single, widowed, separated, or divorced. They don't have a man. I just came out of Florida and they got a housing complex that the Urban League built, which is a black organization that is for women and children only. They say they don't allow any men in there. I didn't have time to deal with it, but I talked about them real bad. That's the silliest program I've ever heard of. You know them women that had men if they got a bunch of children. They need fathers. They need protection. We hear about the drug problem that we have in our projects across the country. It's one of the major places that we have a drug problem. We talk about the great strength that we have as black women. Well, the welfare department don't rent government apartments to single black men. Those apartments belong to black women. They did not tell us that all of that, being my own person and I'm independent, would lead to separation, loneliness, celibacy, and lesbianism. They didn't tell us that if you give up the man, you're going to take one. They didn't tell us.
You're saying everything they said in that documentary about you is not true.
They are lying on me.
You are supporting a pedophile.
Nothing good about me. I'm just a child molester. The devil. Come on, guys. As long as my breath is going in and out, I try to, even when I get ready to complain, I think about that and I say, you know what? I ain't gonna even say nothing. I just breathe, baby. I breathe on these niggas, you heard me? 20-some women trapped in my house in the basement. And first of all, my house in Atlanta doesn't even have a fucking basement. This is my story. The only thing I could do is say what's real and say what's on my heart and give it to y'all like y'all want it. You want the truth. You ain't even got an education. You didn't even graduate from high school. You don't even really read, and all of this old shit they told me. And I started believing that shit, man. But just something in me kept calling and shit. My heart was pumping this shit. It was pumping this shit. Hey fans, how y'all doing? It's your boy Kells. I love y'all. Thanks for supporting me for the last 30 years of my career. I'm very appreciative of that, and just you guys have kept me humble, kept me grounded, and kept me putting out this music for you guys. You guys inspired me to do it, so I'm gonna do it until you say don't do it no more. Don't say that though. If I met your daughter and I took your daughter out and she was of age, what the fuck am I gonna do?
Everybody, put your hands to the sky.
You ain't got no money? Shit. Sue R. Kelly.
Mute R. Kelly.
You are controlling, that you are abusive, that you tell women when to eat, when to go to the bathroom, when they can sleep, where they can dress.
I know y'all know that shit is ridiculous, but the crazy shit is motherfuckers, stupid motherfuckers want to believe this shit.
This shouldn't be happening.
Every level there's another devil. Whoever you are right now looking at me in my eyes, look in my fucking eyes, okay? I don't give a fuck about this fame shit. I'm a real motherfucker. My main goal is to unconfuse the world about R. Kelly. You don't know me. You ain't never been in my house. You ain't never been in my bedroom. So you cannot judge me.
They took his money out his fucking out his jail out his
commissary.
account, out his commissary.
Yeah, right.
You know, they just really dogging him, showing him that we could do you the dirtiest ever. They didn't have serial killers killed 13 people. And you never heard of them touching their commissary.
Yep.
Your commissary? They done had people on what that show I was just watching. American Justice, when they swindle all this money from people, all these corporations. They never mess with their commissary. They keep them able to eat in prison. You know, they trying to make him hang himself. That's what they really trying to do. That's the games they play with us. You know, it's deeper than y'all think it is. They just made a rule where they take this man commissary. You know, just made a rule. Ain't nobody fight for it. This a new motherfucking rule. You know how many people owe money creditors in jail who owe people billions of dollars? That's why they in jail, forgery and everything. Did you take their fucking commissary? All these motherfuckers broke all these motherfucking laws. All these people that wrote bad checks. All these motherfucking loans. When you get to jail, did you take their commissary? No, you didn't. No, you didn't. They trying to kill him. They trying to put enough pressure on him where he hang himself in that cell. I'm telling you what they trying to do. When you're making new laws for a man, you're trying to kill him. So R. Kelly family, if something happened to him, sue the fuck out of him. And play this interview back as evidence.
Exactly what we were seeing at the time. So this is just a little bit ago as you can see a crowbar to get through this gate initially as well, the long guns and a multitude of people. As you'll see, they'll zoom out a little bit just to see the amount of force they are using to get inside this home. And of course, the complex in which this home sits is a very expansive one for the American rapper and producer. You can see them checking inside a vehicle. We don't know exactly what is involved, if Diddy's even there. We don't know a ton of information about this at all, but this was dramatic video coming in of the Los Angeles home there, raided by Homeland Security. Some of those images there on the backs of them were all exactly what we were seeing at the time. So this is just a little bit ago as you can see a crowbar to get through this gate initially as well, the long guns and a multitude of people. As you'll see, they'll zoom out a little bit just to see the amount of force they are using to get inside this home. And of course, the complex in which this home sits is a very expansive one for the American rapper and producer. You can see them checking inside a vehicle. We don't know exactly what is involved, if Diddy's even there. We don't know a ton of information about this at all, but this was dramatic video coming in of the Los Angeles home there, raided by Homeland Security. Some of those images there on the backs of them were all exactly what we were seeing at the time. So this is just a little bit ago as you can see a crowbar to get through this gate initially as well, the long guns and a multitude of people. As you'll see, they'll zoom out a little bit just to see the amount of force they are using to get inside this home. And of course, the complex in which this home sits is a very expansive one for the American rapper and producer. You can see them checking inside a vehicle. We don't know exactly what is involved.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it 100 with y'all. I was in a dark place a few years, you know what I'm saying? And I have to give a special thank you, shout out, thank you, all that love. I gotta give a special thank you to the people that was really like there for me. Bishop T.D. Jakes, my chief of staff, Christina Coram, KK, Lorianne Gibson, keeping me free. Yeah, and also Cassie for holding me down in the dark times. Love. Yeah, I'm gonna keep it 100 with y'all. I was in a dark place a few years, you know what I'm saying? And I have to give a special thank you, shout out, thank you, all that love. I got to give a special thank you to the people that was really like there for me. Bishop T.D. Jakes, my chief of staff, Christina Coram, KK, Lorianne Gibson, keeping me free. Yeah, also Cassie for holding me down in the dark times. Love.
Mogul Sean Combs, better known as Puff Daddy or Diddy, is now facing a lawsuit from the singer known as Cassie, whose real name is Cassandra Ventura, alleging years of sexual abuse and rape during their long romantic relationship. The suit, which was filed in federal district court in Manhattan, alleges during that relationship, Combs would force Cassie to have sex with male prostitutes while he watched and filmed. The singer also claims he would control her with beatings and drugs shortly after they met when she was just 19 years old. The suit also claims that Combs raped her towards the end of the relationship. Combs' lawyer sent a statement vehemently denying the allegations, also saying that the singer has been seeking $30 million under the threat of writing a damaging book about their relationship. The suit seeks unspecified damage. Mogul Sean Combs, better known as Puff Daddy or Diddy, is now facing a lawsuit.
And so, here today about this latest lawsuit with the P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, Puffy, Sean Puffy Combs, whatever you want to call them, lawsuit that has come out involving the producer Lil Rod. So basically his last two lawsuits, or last two major lawsuits, the one with Cassie, she made mention that Puffy made her carry his into nightclubs and wherever they went. And he threatened her to make her feel like she had to do so. And while there were lots of things of importance, that stood out to me. And I'm going to tell you why. In this lawsuit with the producer Lil Rod, they were both SA'd by him and threatened and physically harmed. But in this lawsuit, he appears to be a very young producer to me. But he said something very specific. As a means of threatening him, Puffy said, that's why I shot up the club in New York back in 1999 and let Shine take the fall for it. Let me tell you why that's of utmost importance to me. Because I am the woman who he shot in the face in that 1999, December 27th, 1999, Club New York shooting. I have told everyone ad nauseum since then, even the surgeon who did the surgery to take the bullet. I got shot in my face with a 9mm hollow point bullet called a cop killer. I literally have told everyone and never changed what I said. I watched him. I got pow-powed in the face. I watched him fire the gun. I've said it all this time. Even the surgeon who did my surgery to take out part of the bullet fragments that was aspirating into my lungs and try to remove as many bullet fragments as possible, testified in the criminal trial that while they were putting me under, I was screaming, Puffy, pew pew me in the face. He testified in the criminal trial. It is in the record. They all knew he did it. Everybody knew he did it. But he paid off the club bouncer named Sharice and all these other people and the club owners with their video to hide the video. That's his MO. I told everybody that. This man almost took my life, has traumatized my life, has caused undue harm, irreparable damage to my life, lied his behind off. I've had all these youngins on the internet harassing me, swearing that I'm making it up that he did it. And look what he did to Lil Rod. He threatened him. Oh, you don't think I bust my gun? I shot up the club in Club New York and let Shine take the fall for it. I shot them people. Well. It only took 24 24 whole years for it to come out. You see this tattoo? This commemorates me getting shot. It took 24 years for him to come out and say it. I've been saying it all along, but y'all pick and choose who y'all want to believe. Oh, baby, you ain't seen nothing yet. Not only did he pew me in the face, he also set off a course of harassment against me for the past 24 years. When I tell you the things I went through, there was a time in 2017 and 2018 where I got 7 flats on my BMW. 7, the same tire, in a 2-year span. 7 on the same tire, and they were all new. Every time it happened, I had to get a new tire. I have the pictures to prove it. Harassing me. You want to know why? Because prior to Cassie, I was the only person to be victimized by him and then to successfully sue him and get paid. And he had to pay me out of his pocket. He has never gotten over that. Oh, baby. You see this RICO charge that's about to come? This conspiring and pew-pewing up the club and ruining or attempting to ruin my life? As God is my witness, I will not stop until you suffer every single iota of punishment, until I have every second of recompense that you took from me. For every tear that I had to cry or my children had to cry, I am going to get $1 million back from you. I will not stop until you pay the price for what you did to my life. And for all you people out there on the internet and in cyberspace and in the far reaches of my life or the perimeters or wherever who always like, oh, she just saying that to get some. Hell, what you got to say now? What you got to say now? And so,
Hey y'all. Hey Shannon. Hey Ashley. Hey Kitty. Well, as y'all know, P.Diddy's houses has been raided by Homeland Security. And I think it's also because, if y'all remember, I told y'all yesterday that Little Rod put in a motion to the LA courts that he has been threatened since he filed his lawsuit, and that Diddy contacted him through third party, telling him to I guess stop the lawsuit, and he's scared for his kids, his fiance, his mom, his sisters, his family. There was a couple other things he said in that motion that yeah, he's scared for his life, and that now he's asking for some type of like protection because he's scared that something might happen to him or his family. And again, because Diddy contacted him through third party, and he submitted that motion on Friday. So all of a sudden today, Diddy's LA and Miami house has been raided by Homeland Security. But I'm pretty sure it's probably because of all these lawsuits. But when Little Rod put in that his life was in danger after filing this civil lawsuit and stuff, I'm pretty sure that was the ticket. Like, because everybody else was just filing lawsuits about things that happened in the past. But he's claiming since he filed his civil lawsuit, claiming that Diddy essayed him, made him participate in sexual activities, etc., that he's been threatened since, and he's scared for his life. Yeah, but I'm pretty sure he knew it was eventually coming. Like, what is he up to? Like 7 lawsuits, civil lawsuits, and they're claiming sexual trafficking and Little Rod's paperwork. I don't know if y'all paid attention, but he stated that Diddy had underage girls and was spiking people drinks, and this was as of his Love album released. So that was recently. That was recently. And that's how he threw Cuban Gooding in it. Claiming that Cuban Gooding was in one of them parties with him, or I know he threw Cuban Gooding in his paperwork. Who else was it? Who else was it? Who else was it? It was a couple other people. But he said that this party was going on as recently as the Love album. So when he put out that Love album, like couple last year, couple months before January, I think. Yeah, that was like recent. And oh, the bodyguard, the security guy. Remember he did that interview with the Art of Dialogue. He was in Little Rod's paperwork too, corroborating about the spiced drinks and how they would have different bottles, and Diddy would tell some of them like, "Yo, don't drink out of that bottle." Like, I guess bottles of champagne, but some would be spiked, and then some would be regular. And Little Rod brought up that millionaire guy that's real close to Diddy, the one who they think is Diddy's lover. What is the white guy name? The one that got him out of when his son Justin was at the school, at the college, and Diddy supposed to have pulled out a gun on somebody or something. But that white guy, no, not Clive, the other one, the other white guy. He's in Little. I gotta pull up his paperwork. He's in Little Rides. No, not Clyde Davis. Not Clyde Davis. Is the other one. The one that sponsors a lot of uh Diddy's uh a lot of the fundraisers he be doing. I forget the guy name, but I know he was in Little Rod's paperwork because Little Rod stated he like that's Diddy's lover or something. Like, I think that might be the name right there. Wait a minute, let me look it up. I don't know if I think he might be is he a billionaire? Because they claim that's how Diddy been getting out of a lot of the stuff that he was. I know it was like a shooting or somebody pulled out a gun when Justin was at that college over the coach or something like that. And Diddy was supposed to go to jail over it, but the charges was dropped, and they claimed that the guy got him out of it. Yep, I think you're right. How you doing, Clanice? Clanice? Yep. No, 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 no. That's not him. No, I think that is him. I think that is him. Yep. I think this is him. I didn't see the video, so it's really a video? I didn't see the video. No, it's really a video? It's really a video? No. It's really a video? Oh gosh. I didn't know it's really a video. So, uh, Mark Cuban, he's the Dallas Mavericks owner. But I don't know if this is him or not. It looked like the guy. Let me see. I thought the other guy was like into the schools and the colleges. That's what I thought. Wait a minute. Because I know Diddy had designed some of the jerseys for the Mavericks in like 2004, 2005. But no, I don't think that's him. Because this guy, I think that he's a part of the schools, the colleges. That's how Justin got that scholarship. Let me see. I know who to go to. Hey, Miss Carter. Hey, honey. What? So it's oh God. And y'all know me grew up right down the street from us. That is crazy. I didn't think the video was real. I know they were saying it, but I didn't think it was, I thought it was BS. Dang. Are you serious? Me. Well, I ain't like when he called me daddy. He talking about, yeah, good job, daddy. You been doing great, daddy. I would have stopped him right there, like, yo, bro, come on, don't do that. Knowing what they be saying about you and all that, don't do that. Stop it. Like you're doing too much. All right, here go the letter from Little Rod. Wait a minute. Is this it? I was gonna say too, Ashley, because why ain't nobody in the house? Wow. This is crazy. All right, here go Little Rod's letter. It say, Dear Judge Oken, John versus Combs, case number 24-1457. I am writing to provide your honor with an update regarding the above referenced matter on behalf of the plaintiff. On March 21st, 2024, plaintiff entered into an agreement with defendant Ethiopia. Under this agreement, in exchange for a declaration that will be appended to the forthcoming amended complaint, the plaintiff has agreed to dismiss all claims against Habtermanen. So what this is if y'all remember, Little Rod added Ethiopia and the other company in his lawsuit against Diddy. But now he's saying that plaintiff has agreed to dismiss all claims. So it looks like they're going to be working with Lil Rod. So instead of him suing them with Diddy, it looks like they're going to be working with him. The plaintiff has elected to dismiss the claims against Shilas Recording Studio without prejudice. This decision enables the plaintiff to refile these claims in Los Angeles, California, where CRS is headquartered. These dismissals are made pursuant to FRCP of the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure. Although they have been in consistent contact with this writer through threatening emails and letters. Threatening emails and letters. Wait a minute. Threatening emails and letters. The remaining defendants have yet to appear in the case. Instead, defendant Sean Combs, through his representatives, has engaged in concerning behavior, including manufacturing stories about the plaintiff on TMZ and dispatching his agents to harass plaintiff's 8-year-old daughter, the mother of his child, and ex-spouses, all of whom have expressed fear of potential harm by defendant Combs. Moreover, defendant Sean Combs has attempted to contact the plaintiff through third parties to persuade plaintiff to terminate this writer and hire counsel who has a relationship with. Wait a minute. Did y'all hear that? They dispatching his agents to harass his 8-year-old daughter? Like what? Okay, so wait a minute. And I guess he must know where Lil Rod's daughter go to school or something. And Diddy, why would you have somebody contact him through third party, knowing damn well they watching and everything else? That is, the people just dumb. Okay, so where I left off at? Okay, where'd it go? Okay, plaintiff to terminate writer. Wait a minute. Defendant Sean Combs has attempted to contact plaintiff through third parties to persuade plaintiff to terminate this writer and hire counsel who has a relationship with defendant Combs. These actions have compelled the plaintiff and his loved ones to file a police report. This writer has raised concerns surrounding this harassing behavior, and they doubled down and indicated that their harassing behavior will continue. Consequently, the plaintiff has reported these actions to the California, New York, and New Jersey state bars. See what I'm saying? All of a sudden, Homeland Security running his house in LA and Miami. He said he reported this to California, New York, and New Jersey. And he filed police reports regarding defendants United Music Group, Lucian Grange, and what's this? Motown Records. Their representative has declined to engage with this writer, despite several emails requesting a call to discuss the plaintiff's claims. He has sent multiple emails and letters filed with empty threats. He went so far as to misleading represent that he is counsel to Ms. I don't know how to say this person's name. Miriam, a misrepresentation that was promptly discovered through discussions with Ms. I'm gonna just say Hab, actual counsel, despite reminding him of his professional duty to engage with opposing counsel to seek a resolution on behalf of his client. He chose to instead to hurl insults and boast about his legal experience spanning over 50 years. We thank the court for its time and attention to this matter. Now, who the heck is this person? I don't know who he talking about. He said, so is Miss Hatter Miriam's isn't that Diddy's lawyer? I think that's his lawyer. Let me read it again. He went so far as to misleading represent that he is counsel to Ms. Hatter Miriam, a misrepresentation that was promptly discovered through discussions with Ms. Hatter Miriam's actual counsel, despite reminding him of his professional duty to engage with opposing counsel to seek a resolution on behalf of his client. He chose instead to hurl insults and boast about his legal experience. I don't know who that is. And Motown Records is declining emails and requesting to call Little Rod and his attorney and United Music Group. Yeah, I don't understand. I think this is Diddy's lawyer, Miss Hatter Miriam's. I think that's Diddy's attorney. Exactly, bro. Exactly. But you said why? But why the guy said in the interview does not make sense because if you got a warrant to search your house, you there for that particular person. No, but did you hear the part where they said that they were also going to be grabbing other people to question people? So I guess if anybody else was in the house, they're going to be questioning, I guess, everybody. Because it's probably an investigation. When Homeland Security come, they're not just coming to grab Diddy. Anybody else who's in that house, they're going to grab and interview. That's what I'm thinking, Ashley. Well, okay, so we don't know if they had a warrant for a body warrant or if they had a warrant because they keep saying this sex trafficking thing, or if they had a warrant to go in there to look for specific evidence or uh pow-pows, or we don't know. But could I rely on the guys? So they said the warrant didn't have his name. Let me see, because I don't know. Let me see. Well, you know they say Diddy sacrificed everybody else. I know one thing. It's scary as hell that everybody in Uptown Records is dead, but Diddy, I'm sorry, but that's kind of crazy. And I don't know if y'all was over here when I played that story about Diddy, when the guy, like, oh my God, when he just named like everybody, and um if Diddy really is like a serial uh Killer, and he just talked about like all the different, like bodies, and like I didn't even know that the other guy who was running around with Kim Porter, I didn't know that he just died out of nowhere. Like it's some people that just got out of here when it's no reason for it. It's no reason to it, or why. And they said that man was um like paranoid, and supposed to be Diddy caught him with Kim, and he just up and uh I know you said that today is 27 years anniversary, but wow, you see how the universe works? That's crazy. Wait a minute, I'm gonna let y'all hear it. And when I watched this, I was like, I don't know, Diddy. That's too many bodies that's just unalived, and no reason, like no, like if that's the case, it's just a weird coincidence. And like I always said, he just one lucky person, because everybody else around him wasn't so lucky. Seriously. Wait a minute, because I don't want this guy to strike me. So I'm gonna just play it. It's real good though. Like he breaks it down, like each altercation that happened. But like I said, I didn't know that Kim Porter was messing with somebody else. Um, and that guy just up and died. And his family was saying before he passed away, he was paranoid and thought people was after him, and oh, it's crazy. Wait a minute, I know I just seen it. I just watched it. Just like I ain't know that he really broke Kim Porter nose. And see, that's what I'm saying. All of these people that sat around and watched all this stuff, but come out later, oh yeah, he did this, oh yeah, he did I don't respect that. Why you ain't say nothing then? Why are you saying something now? And that's why that's why I can't respect that. And that's why I don't be believing it. Because if somebody was in danger at that moment, why are you speaking now? Why you ain't been say something? That's stupid to me. Like it's past tense. Oh, we couldn't say nothing because, Diddy scary or whatever. Okay. All right, here y'all go. Listen closely.
What he's being known for.
This is deep, y'all.
I can only equate to some of the things that I've seen him and Kim go through.
Years old. You're a dad now. Would you ever send your kid to Puffy camp?
Hell no. I mean, when he was like 10 and I was a little bit older, his older brother, we used to fight over the frosted flakes. You know what I'm saying? Before pause was invented. You know what I'm saying? But it's my brother for real. We used to actually wrestle off of the frosted flakes because he used to always get it early.
Yo, what the did Puff just say? Kim is dead. Heavy D is dead. Country for real is dead. The only two left, Puffy and Al, almost.
There's no way this kid
should be getting, this man should be getting an icon award when all he has done was destroy the people around him.
Welcome back to another episode of Swamp Stories. For this one, we do something that we've never done before. We take a deep dive into one of America's most controversial figures. He's loved by some, hated by others, but everyone knows that he's a boss that you never want to piss off. As talented of a genius as he is, he's also known to be equally as angry, manipulative, and flat out evil. So in this video, we gather information and opinions to create an unbiased and hopefully accurate depiction of the man himself. This is Surviving Diddy, so let's dive in. The story begins in 1970s Harlem, a very rough place at the time. Poverty and violence ruled the community, and people did what they had to do to survive. One of these people was Melvin Combs, a man who climbed the ranks as a dealer in Harlem. But Melvin lived a double life, one where he risked his life and freedom in the streets, and another where he provided for his wife and 2 children. But by all accounts, Melvin and his wife did a great job sheltering their kids from the chaotic streets. Sadly, though, in the mid-1970s, Melvin would lose his life to a deal gone wrong. On paper, Melvin was just another statistic, one of the thousands in New York City. But to his son named Sean, he was his everything. Sean was in elementary school when his father passed away, and his mother always told him that it was a car crash. Her idea was to shelter him from all things bad, and she even moved him into the suburbs. So in the 6th grade, the family moved to the city of Mount Vernon, and Sean attended a private Montessori school. In many cases, going from inner city to a private school can be a struggle, but not for a young Sean Combs. He was highly intelligent and charismatic, an instant leader amongst boys. So Sean spent the rest of his adolescence in Mount Vernon, thriving amongst his wealthier classmates. After high school, his good grades led him to the prestigious Howard University. There, he became an absolute star in all facets. He joined a fraternity and was known for throwing the best parties in DC. On top of this, he started a cab service that would safely take home drunk students after parties. He was already a natural businessman, and everyone knew that he was destined for success. All he had to do was wait patiently for his first major opportunity. For him, this would come rather early. In fact, it was in 1989 after his freshman year. While home in Mount Vernon, he linked up with a good childhood friend named Dwight Myers, also known as Heavy D. Growing up, Heavy D was like a big brother to Sean, a mentor in many ways. Well, Heavy was a talented rapper, and by 1989, he signed a major deal with Uptown Records. So over the summer, he introduced his friend Sean to the owner of Uptown Records, a respected mogul by the name of Andre Harrell. Right off the bat, Andre took a special liking to a young Sean Combs, like an oddly special liking. I guess he saw major potential in him because he decided to give him a major...
Now, I just want to say something real quick. Y'all know the rumor was that Andre Harrell was being groomed by Clyde Davis. So when Andre Harrell pulled in Diddy, how the hell you pull in Diddy and then Diddy becomes the CEO of Uptown Records when he was under Andre Harrell, right? But the rumor was that just like Clyde Davis groomed Andre Harrell and gave him money to start his own company, it's being said that allegedly Clyde Davis start grooming Diddy, and that's how Diddy was able to reach up to have his own company so fast. Because everybody like, how did he move that? It take people years to get in that position. But basically, they claim that Andre Harrell was being groomed by Clyde Davis, and then Andre Harrell started grooming Diddy and basically gave him up to Clyde Davis.
opportunity right away. So in the summer of 1989, Sean was hired as an intern at Uptown Records. Over the summer, Sean spent countless hours in the studio and in meetings with major artists from around the country. It was truly a dream come true for a freshman in college, something that's pretty much unheard of. Well, the fall comes around and Sean has to return to campus in DC. Andre didn't want him to go and tried to convince him to drop out and stay with the label, but Sean's mother was not having it. So together they came to a compromise. Twice a week, Sean would take the train from DC to New York to be at the Uptown office. This was 4 hours each way, meaning that Sean spent a total of 16 hours a week just to remain an intern at Uptown. This really didn't make any sense. What could he bring to the table that required him to do all of this hassle? Well, you might find out in just a second, so hold on. This crazy lifestyle continued for a few months until Andre Harrell put his foot down. He offered him a full-time job at the label if he would drop out of Howard and return back to New York. Sean accepted it and it worked out extremely well. This is because at just 20 years old, Sean was promoted to the vice president of the label. Whoa, now we're all thinking the same thing, aren't we? Why in the world would Andre Harrell promote a 20-year-old to the vice president of his label? The music industry is one of the hardest to crack, and for most it takes decades to get this position. So how did Sean Combs really get this job so young? And that leads us to a little bit of deep diving history. Back in the day, Andre Harrell had a very similar story to Sean Combs. He was another college student in the Bronx hoping to one day work in the music industry. And while in college, he was discovered by a legendary music mogul by the name of Clive Davis. For those who don't know, Clive is famous for founding Arista Records and for being one of the first moguls to come out of the closet. Well, Clive took a special liking to Andre and took him under his wing in the music industry. Long story short, in 1985, Andre was given funding to start his own music label, one called Uptown Records. So just like Puff, Andre went out and discovered underground rappers, one of which being Heavy D. So again, this begs the same question. How did Andre get this position at such a young age? Well, according to Sean's former assistant, it's all a power dynamic with Clive Davis at the top. The insinuation is that the boss takes advantage of a young intern and will pay them back later on.
He loves the ability to manipulate and control people. Why? Most likely because he was victimized by his mentor, who loved to control people.
And his mentor was
Andre Harrell.
Tell us how
he was mentored by Clive Davis.
Don't tell me that Andre Harrell got by Clive Davis too. Don't tell me that Andre Harrell got by Clive Davis too.
Regardless of the truth, stories like these have always been rumored in entertainment. Essentially, you get taken advantage of by those in power, and that's how you make it in your industry. Then the idea is that over time, the former victims become the perpetrators. Now, of course, these are all just rumors, but Jaguar does get more specific. When Sean was hired at Uptown, Andre Harrell had a personal assistant named Kim Porter, and the rumor states that she caught Sean doing special favors for Andre.
But then again, you know, you added in for Andre because Andre used to make you, and Kim Porter had footage of it. And Kim Porter had footage of it.
The rumors have never proven to be true, but they will be important later on. Well, make of all that what you want. But the fact is that Sean's career took off from here. After becoming the vice president of Uptown, Sean truly put his head down and grinded for success. He scouted the local underground scene in order to find his first diamond in the rough. This is how he discovered his first artist in 1991, an MC out of Long Island by the name of Memo. Greg was an instant success, but Sean wasn't satisfied with just him. While scrolling through the Source magazine, Sean was intrigued by a rapper in the unsigned hype section. This would be a young rapper out of Brooklyn by the name of Notorious Big. So in March of 1992, Sean got in contact with Big and brought him to the studio. He was blown away by his talent and instantly signed him to Uptown Records. Boom, this was his next Uptown protege. Now I know what you're thinking, but Biggie was a certified street dude and he was not going for that. It was strictly a business relationship, and here is where things get interesting. It's the fall of 1992, and Biggie completes his first album to be released. The debut album is called Ready to Die, and both him and Sean feel very strongly about the project. But there's a major problem in the way. Uptown's parent company refuses to release the album. They expressed that the album was not to their liking and contained too many explicit lyrics. As you would expect, Sean was upset and so was Biggie. Sean did not respond well to the decision, and because of this, he was fired from Uptown Records in late 1992. This was devastating, but Andre Harrell had his back no matter what.
Final straw for me was when MCA wanted me to not put out the Biggie Smalls album because they didn't like the subject matter, and they wanted me to tell him he got to change his tone. And it wasn't up to me, I felt, to tell a generation what they could do and not do artistically. So I knew it wasn't going to work because he was coming from a new space and a new era. And Biggie Smalls was more like in the streets and telling street stories. And he told them, well, I'm really letting you go so you can get rich. I'm really letting you go so you can get rich.
But was this really the case, or was something else at play? Puff had just gotten fired from his dream job at the age of 23. Most people would be devastated, but Sean fell right back on his feet. Just a month after being fired, Sean started his own label called Bad Boy Records. Obviously, the 23-year-old didn't have the pockets to fund it himself, so it was initially a partnership with Arista Records. Wait, let's get this straight. So Sean was fired by Uptown and then given his own label by Uptown's bosses. How does that make sense?
Think about that. He was fired from Uptown, but then collab with Clyde Davis, who is the boss of Uptown. And then Clyde Davis fronted Diddy the money to open up Bad Boys? Come on, y'all. He was only 20. Like, what did Diddy... Oh, he was just that special of a young man, and he was smart and whatever. Come on, let's be serious. Why did he get fired from Uptown? To collab with Uptown bosses? Which is Clyde Davis? That don't make sense. It looked like to me, Andre Harrell passed him off to Clyde, and Clyde was like, look, you want your own company? You got to do this. That's what it looked like to me.
Well, it's possible that Jaguar Wright was correct.
He stepped around Andre Harrell and gave you the keys to the kingdom. Andre was in line.
So again, here's the idea. Andre Harrell had to do special favors for Clive Davis in order to be hired and then get his own label. And once Andre established his label, he repeated the same cycle on Sean Combs. But for former Uptown singer and assistant Jaguar Wright, she believes that Clive Davis was in on it as well. I guess your idea is that Sean did things for Andre in order to be hired, and then he did things for Clive in order to climb the ranks. And being that Clive is above both of them, he had the authority to give Sean his own label.
Andre got passed over. Like, how do you go from being the president of Uptown and losing your entire company to your intern? Like, Puff started out as an intern. And that's because you know Clive Davis, and we all know he has lots of secrets. Clearly, he trusts you. He stepped around Andre Harrell and gave you the keys to the kingdom. Andre was in line.
If the rumored power dynamic is true, then Clive Davis did replace Andre Harrell with Sean Combs, meaning that now, instead of Andre, it was Sean doing special favors for Clive. And as a reward, Clive made Andre drop him from Uptown and gave him his own label. Of course, though, this is all silly speculation. But what's not speculation is that Uptown's artists were released from their contracts and were able to sign with Bad Boy Records. This way, Sean now had full control over Biggie and Craig Mack. Well, after starting Bad Boy, Sean started going by the alias Puff Daddy. This is a name given to him by his mom because when he was a kid, he used to huff and puff whenever he was mad. So now we enter the era of Puff Daddy and Bad Boy Records. Puff's Bad Boy released their first album in July of 1994, which was Craig Mack's Flavor in Your Ear. The album took off to immediate success. This is how Bad Boy entered the industry. Then just 2 months later, Biggie's debut album Ready to Die released as well. Both albums did well and Puff was eager to keep it going. So just 2 weeks after Biggie's album, Bad Boy released Craig Mack's second album, Funk the World. Puffy couldn't miss, and he was eager to recruit more and more new artists. He was becoming so respected in the industry that other moguls were coming to him for advice. And that takes us down to Atlanta, Georgia. In 1992, music mogul L.A. Reid discovered a 12-year-old singer named Usher Raymond. While watching him perform at a local talent show, he saw some Michael Jackson in him. He was so impressed that he signed him to his label LaFace Records at just 13 years old. Interestingly enough, LaFace Records was under the Arista umbrella. Just keep that in mind. Well, the story goes that in order to prep Usher for his music career, he was sent to go live with none other than Puff Daddy. So at 14 years old, Usher was sent to live with Puffy full-time, something known as Puffy's Flavor Camp. I guess the idea was for Puffy to mentor him and send him down the right path. But according to Usher, there was a lot more going on than just that.
I moved to New York City, and I lived with Sean Puffy Combs for a year.
That's the crazy thing. Now, that was L.A. Reid's idea, right? We're sending you over to something called Puffy Flavor Camp.
There you go.
To learn some...
Camp?
Yeah, that's what it was called. And you're going to go to Puff Daddy's. He's
In the 90s, do you understand what that's like?
Puffy's place was like just filled with chicks and orgying like nonstop, right?
No, not really. I mean, but hey, it was curious. I got a chance to see some things.
Yeah, but you were 13. What were you
I
saying?
went there to see the lifestyle.
Right.
And I saw it. And but I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at. It was pretty wild.
So nobody tried to, some woman didn't come along.
I didn't say that.
Okay.
I didn't say that. What I did say is that there were very curious things taking place.
Uh-huh.
And I didn't necessarily understand.
Uh-huh.
Biggie Smalls was there.
Biggie Smalls was there. Lil' Kim, Craig Mack.
All these people are hanging around.
Yeah, man. Faith Evans.
And your parents were
Mary J. Blige. They didn't know nothing about this shit.
Oh.
I was having a good time. You know what I mean?
Does he have you doing any chores? Are you doing dishes at all? I mean, to keep you humble somewhat? Or are you just like, can you stay up till 4 a.m. with them and party?
I mean, I could. I actually stayed up longer than them.
Do you have money? What's going on?
I mean, I had like per diem. I had like,
what
like
a
a living.
life.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
14 years old. You're a dad now. Would you ever send your kid to Puffy Camp?
Hell no.
Many people out there believe that Usher was Puffy's first victim of the power ritual. There's no proof to show that, but these clips may convince you that something strange was going on.
I mean, back in the days when he was like 10 and I was a little bit older, his older brother, we used to fight over the frosted flakes. You know what I'm saying? Before pause was invented. You know what I'm saying? But it's my brother for real. We used to actually wrestle off of the frosted flakes because he used to always get up early.
Yo, what the fuck did Puff just say? Nobody's gonna acknowledge this with me. Puff just said we used to wrestle over the frosted flakes, and we're streaming live. That was stupid.
So what do you guys think? Is Usher a part of surviving Diddy, or is this just a silly assumption? Well, now we move on to the next chapter. Regardless of all the nonsense, Puff was truly a genius at discovering and developing artists, and in the process, he was gaining immense wealth and power in the industry. As you would expect, this success got to his head pretty quickly. By many accounts, Puff grew an obsession with having complete control. He wanted control over everyone around him, even for the silliest things. So here is the first example. The year is 1995 and Craig Mack is eager to continue his success. So he puts together his third studio album, one by the name of Operation Get Down. The story goes that he brings the album to Puff to get it released, but things don't go as planned. Puff allegedly tells Craig Mack that if he wants the album released, he has to fire his manager and then hire a bad boy manager. But Craig's manager is one of his closest friends and has been rocking with him since day one. Because of this, Craig is loyal to him and tells Puffy no. Even though it's a silly request, Puffy is pissed because he doesn't have control over the situation.
Puff told Craig Mack if he didn't change management, he wasn't with him no more. Craig wasn't getting rid of his management. Craig said, yo, listen here, man, I'm not changing my managers because you want to. Puff said, yo, I ain't that kid no more. Not at all. I was right there. We said that. Told Craig Mack, you don't change your manager, I ain't fucking with you.
Craig stands on his principles and refuses to fire his manager, so Puffy decides to be petty. He completely stops paying him and refuses to release his music. This made things awkward at Bad Boy, as Craig no longer had the power to control his career or his narrative. In this 1995 interview, you can see the awkwardness on full display. Like Craig Mack could not believe that Diddy would really lie on camera like that.
I'm sure you got much things in store for my. Yeah, definitely. We got a new album we're working on him to drop in January. We got a new album we're working on him to drop in January.
You can see the disbelief in Craig Mack's face, like no way he's saying this. From here, frustrations grew further between Bad Boy and Craig as Craig felt betrayed by his boss. I was your first artist. I was the one who took the risk and signed to your label. And more importantly, I've made you a whole lot of money. And now you're willing to throw away my career over a silly manager. What is going on? But not only did he want his career to dwindle, it's also rumored that he wanted him killed. Craig knew what Puff was capable of, so everywhere he went, he rolled around with a blicky, something very risky in New York City. He even contemplated getting rid of Puff in order to save his own life.
I had a gun in my lap. And I'm sitting there, I'm talking to God, I'm like, Lord, I don't want to do this. But if it comes to getting ugly where somebody's trying to kill me, I'm going to have to do something first or do something to prevent that from happening.
In what world should an artist have to fear for his life because his own boss wants to harm him? Well, Craig says that Puff tried to set him up at the studio, but when he showed up with certified goons, he decided to back off. So thankfully, the situation didn't end terribly, but it was the start of a new era for Puffy. Not only had he become a control freak, but now he was bringing the threat of violence to the table. Slowly, the golden child of the industry was becoming the villain behind closed doors. And now we enter Diddy's violent era. While the Craig Mack drama was taking place internally, a whole nother beef was stewing in the industry. By the fall of 1994, Bad Boy had competition for rap's biggest label, and this would be California's Death Row Records. Particularly, Tupac had become the biggest star in rap, and everyone wanted a feature. In this case, Uptown Records producer Ron G wanted Tupac to record a verse for Biggie Smalls. So Pac asked for $7,000 and Bad Boy agreed to pay for the verse. So Pac records the verse with Ron G and then is told to go to the Quad Studios in Manhattan to pick up the money. And that takes us to November 30th, 1994. Pac arrives in Manhattan and walks to the Quad Studios. As he's entering the building, he hears some Bad Boy associates yelling his name from the upstairs window. Pac is excited to meet with Bad Boy and he walks in the lobby to take the elevator upstairs. But as he approaches the elevators, two men in masks are waiting for him right there. Before he can run, the men whip out and reach for his pockets. Pac tries to fight them off, but that's when the men make a wild decision. While being carried out of the lobby, Pac flips off Notorious Big and other Bad Boy associates, assuming that they set him up. Thankfully, though, Tupac would survive his injuries after a successful surgery. Speaking of injuries, if you are a loved one or ever injured, you deserve the absolute best on your side. That's because your injury could be worth millions. In that case, you can contact Morgan & Morgan, America's biggest injury law firm. Yup, with Morgan & Morgan on your side, you could get the money you deserve. That's a fact. Insurance companies often lowball you to get you in and out of the door. But no, with Morgan & Morgan, they fight hard to get you what you deserve.
And if you don't believe me, check this out.
This past December, a Florida man was awarded $12.2 million when insurance only offered $350,000. What? That's 34 times higher. Yep, and Morgan & Morgan has over 4,000 support staff available at any hour. And they have over 100 offices nationwide, plus 1,000 local lawyers available. Here's the best part. It only takes a few minutes to see if you have a case, and if so, it's free unless you win. So did you know that you can start your claim with America's biggest injury law firm with just one click? It's literally so easy. To start your claim, go to forthepeople.com/swamp stories, or just click the link in the description. Well, after the incident, Pac wholeheartedly believed that Bad Boy set him up to be killed. At the time, though, he couldn't do anything about it as he had his hands tied with a legal case involving a woman. In fact, the day after his surgery, he appeared in court where he was sentenced to 8 months in Rikers Island. While incarcerated, the national story was that Bad Boy set him up to be robbed. On top of this, Pac did an interview while incarcerated where he said that Bad Boy did it overtly. He claimed that when he was on the way to the studios, Puff kept calling him to see where he was. He wanted to know when exactly he would get in. And that was Pac's main reasoning for thinking they set him up. Because of this, Puff was under major scrutiny and he needed to clear it up.
So I saw him saying, what's up to me? I'm about to get on the elevator. And he comes out shot.
Tupac article had me pissed off, you know what I'm saying? Because first of all, he dissed my man. Said my man turned his back on him. And I know for a fact that didn't happen, you know what I'm saying? And like the rumors that's spreading is on some tip like we set him up. You know what I'm saying? And that's crazy. And that's crazy.
If there's any psychologists watching, please let me know why Puff's eyes are having a dance battle. Anyways, Puff was not done clearing the air. In fact, he visited Tupac at Rikers Island to assure him that Bad Boy had nothing to do with it. But was this really the case? Because Puff's bodyguard claims that he let this happen to Pac.
The people who knew what was going to happen to Pac was in the studio. Was in the part of the quad studio with Jimmy Hitchman, and that was Andre Harrell and Puffy. So Puff knew. Andre Harrell knew.
If Gene Deal's perspective hasn't convinced you, then maybe what happens next will. In February of 1995, Biggie released a hit song called Who Shot You, which many people think is a Tupac diss. And one of these people was Pac himself, who felt betrayed and lied to by Puff. You told me one thing to my face, but your actions proved otherwise. To an alpha male like Pac, that was the ultimate disrespect. Well, after the record, all peace was off the table and Death Row cut ties with Bad Boy. That takes us to August 3rd, 1995. It's the annual Source Awards in New York City, and Death Row are nominated for Soundtrack of the Year. Of course, tensions are in the air because the show is in New York, and everyone is curious if anything will happen. Well, Death Row wins the award, and Suge takes the stage.
First of all, I'd like to thank God. Second of all, I'd like to thank my whole entire Death Row family on both sides, you know what I'm saying? I'd like to tell Tupac keep his guards up, we ride with him. One other thing I'd like to say, any artist out there want to be an artist and want to stay a star, don't have to worry about the executive producer trying to be all in the video, all on the record. Yeah, come Death Row.
This was obviously a sneak diss at Puff, and the crowd was not feeling it. To make matters worse, Snoop Dogg takes the stage and doubles down.
The East Coast don't love Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg. The East Coast ain't got no love for Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg and Death Row. Y'all don't love us. Y'all don't love us. We let it be known here. We know y'all East Coast. We know we at East Coast.
This moment here officially kicked off the Bad Boy versus Death Row beef. This meant that Puff's gangster was now being put to the test for real. Being that they exist on opposite ends of the map, interactions would not be often, but being in the same industry, the sides were bound to cross paths. September 23rd, 1995. Here we are in beautiful, well, not at the time, but here we are in Atlanta, Georgia for Jermaine Dupri's birthday celebration at the Platinum House nightclub. Here, much of the rap industry will be in attendance by midnight. Early in the night, though, it's just the Bad Boy crew and associates hanging in the club before it opens. This would, of course, be Puffy, his bodyguard Wolf, Too Short, Dallas Austin, and plenty more. So they're all chilling in the club and a couple of hours go by. And this is when they receive some unexpected visitors. At 10 p.m., the Death Row crew arrive at the Platinum House parking lot. First, a Death Row associate named Big Jake walks in the club to scope it out. He then looks around and sees Puff Daddy and Jermaine Dupri sitting at a table in the corner. He instantly walks back to the parking lot to tell Suge where they are. Then together, the massive duo walk into the club headed for Puffy. They walk straight up to the table, and that's when Suge Knight slaps Jermaine Dupri directly across the face. This is simply to get to Puffy, who's standing right behind him. Suge then grabs Puff by his arm and brings him in. He begins yelling at Puff, but that's when Wolf gets in between them. He tells Suge it's not going to go down like that. So it turns into a brawl and they're all escorted out of the club. After all this, Suge and Puff actually hug it out and squash the beef. But then out of nowhere, shots go off across the street. So they all duck down and look over to see what's going on. All it is a man across the street shooting his gun into the air. But while everyone is distracted, a man walks right behind Big Jake.
We own the club, the Platinum House. I had been at Jermaine Dupri's party and I seen Jake, and he was looking for Puff and they was looking for Jermaine and them there. And I didn't see them at their own party. Jermaine Dupri, his security, Puff with Wolf. And Jake looks in and see these guys. Shook came back. Boom, 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 boom. He came right in and slapped the out of Jermaine Dupri. And Puff was standing right there and he snatched Puff with one hand. Shook had him with one hand and was shaking him. Then Wolf reached over and grabbed him. Shit ain't going down like this no more. Standing there, Suge's in front of with Puff. They walked to the limo. All of a sudden, somebody started shooting across the street. And I see this dude just busting. Pop, 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 pop. They called the play for the overlay. They started shooting across the street to make everybody look. We looked. The dude came out of nowhere and just touched Jake. And Jake was about 400 pounds.
Big Jake was Suge's best friend and Death Row's security wherever they went. So this loss was devastating to Death Row, but they had no idea who did it. But then a few days later, 3 witnesses reported that Puff's bodyguard Wolf was the assailant. Whoa, did Puff's bodyguard take out Suge Knight's best friend? Well, about a week later, Wolf was arrested for the incident. So, does this mean that Puff ordered the hit of Suge Knight's best friend? Death Row definitely assumes so, but Wolf was able to beat his case about a year later. In the meantime, though, the beef was up. With Tupac shot and now Big J killed, Death Row was looking at Puffy like an absolute menace. And coincidentally, not too long after the loss of Big Jake, Tupac was released from Rikers Island. As soon as he got back to LA, he hopped in the studio and recorded Hit 'Em Up. One, if not the most disrespectful song in rap history. He dissed Biggie by saying that he smashed his girl and pretty much obliterated the whole Bad Boy camp. As you would expect, Puffy was pissed. But at this time, he felt invincible, so he decided to do the unthinkable. He decided to schedule a Bad Boy tour on the West Coast from Seattle down to San Diego. However, he knew that the tour was a risk, so he decided to tap in with his best connection in LA. This would be a man named P.Diddy, who he met at a hydraulic shop in Compton. Essentially, in 1994, Puff asked P if he could borrow one of his cars for a video, and they locked in from there.
He had called up our hydraulic place and asked to use a lowrider.
But Keefe wasn't just a car guy. He was also a high-ranking member of Compton's Southside Crips. So naturally, when Puff announced his tour, he hired Keefe and the Southside Crips to protect him.
He had a West Coast tour coming up. The zipper came pick me up. We rolling up Greenleaf in our neighborhood. And his phone rings. Boom. And it was Puff. And he's like, "You think it's cool to come out here and do concerts?" I'm like, "Why would it be cool? Just let me know the dates and give me some tickets." We had a Crips there, but I see he was trying to play us against each other. Crips, Bloods, you know what I'm saying? Sugar Blood, we the Crips.
So behind the scenes, Puff was potentially creating a beef between Compton Crips and LA Bloods.
I guess he played it smarter. Dude with the red, I get the blue.
Well, thankfully, nothing happened and the tour went smoothly. But later that year, they would run into each other at the Soul Train Awards, and they would have a standoff backstage. Allegedly, Tupac and Suge pulled up on Puffy.
You hear the door go boom, and then you see Tupac with Suge and about 1,000 Bloods and Crips walking down the middle of the auditorium, just screaming because Big them had just went off. So just imagine Tupac coming, walking down the aisle, walking up the steps, and just walking into the back. It wouldn't have been too good if they got hold to him, because they couldn't have handled what they had with them at that time. They were totally outnumbered.
Puff felt embarrassed and disrespected, and something needed to be done. So allegedly that next night, he took Keefe out to dinner on the Sunset Strip. And there, according to Keefe, Puff offered him $1 million to get rid of Pac.
He and Puffy are at this place called Greenblatt's Deli on Sunset, and he tells Keefe, D, man, I just need you to take care of this situation with Suge and Tupac.
Keefe, he's claiming that Puffy offered him $1 million to kill Suge or Tupac. Both of them.
Yeah, both their names came up.
$1 million in 1995 is equivalent to over $2 million today. And to a Compton Crip who's probably broke, this is life-changing money. If this is actually true, then Puff is a cold man. Because there's no way in the world that any gang member would ever turn this down. And Puffy knew this. It was only a matter of time. September 7th, 1996. It's a big day in Las Vegas as Mike Tyson is set to fight at the MGM Grand. Of course, for the big fight, all of the celebrities are in town, including Tupac. Well, it's the afternoon and everyone is having fun before the event. Particularly, Tupac and Suge Knight are walking through the casino lobby. That's when they're approached by a man who's being disrespectful. This would be a young man named Orlando Anderson, the first cousin of Keefe D and fellow Southside Crip. Well, the story goes that he disrespects Pac, and Pac stalks him in front of everyone. Orlando is furious, so he goes and gives a statement to police. Then he meets up with Keefe D and tells him about what happened at the casino. So Keefe and Orlando sit in the hotel room thinking about what they can do. Then they get a call from a very important factor. This would be a New York plug and associate of Puffy by the name of Eric Von Zip. Zip allegedly calls them and says to meet in his rental car. Keefe and Orlando hop in and he hands them a Glock 40. They then hop out and Zip takes off. Keefe and Orlando then hop in their own car. 11 p.m. The Tyson fight empties out and Tupac hops in Suge's BMW 7 Series. Suge then pulls off and stops at a red light on Las Vegas Boulevard. Coincidentally, Orlando and Keefe happen to be reaching the same red light. They hear some girls yelling Tupac's name and approaching the BMW. That's when they pull alongside the car. From there, Orlando rolls his window down and the rest is history. The incident shocked the world and shifted all the attention away from the Mike Tyson victory. The world's biggest rapper was now in critical condition and not expected to survive. 5 days later, on September 13th, Tupac was pronounced dead at the hospital. Everyone wanted to know who did this, but no witnesses ever came forward. Well, here is where things get juicy. Damn, that was corny. Right after the news broke, Keefe D recalls getting a call from Puffy. He claims that Puff asked him, "Was that us?" and promised him the $1 million reward.
He said that Puffy called and said, "Was that us?"
Because Puffy called too, right? Yeah, him and Biggie's wife. What's her name? Faith. Yeah. So tell me about that. Them two calls. He just asked, "Was that us?" Who said that? Puffy.
Now it's time for Puff to pay up. He allegedly sends $1 million check to Zip and tells him to wire it to Keefe.
Zip had a check in his right pocket, right back pocket, and that check was for $1 million. And that check was for $1 million.
Now, all that needs to happen is for Zip to deliver it to Keefe, and his life is changed forever. But did you guys think that that would actually happen?
So the FBI told you that Zip kept that money. So
they said Zip's a dirty. Everybody cross you.
You guys never got any money?
Never.
For anything?
Nothing. Not even a pair of Sean John drawers.
Man, what was Puff thinking? It's almost like he orchestrated this.
But he never gave the money to him.
But thank God he never gave him the money, right? Think about it. If he gave the money, Puffy will be in prison now, money for hire.
You know, Eric Von Zip keeping the money kind of shielded everyone from the situation in
so he's a savior
type of way.
According to the FBI, because Zip didn't give the money to Keefe, Puffy dodged prison. But here's my question. Is Puff really responsible for what happened to Tupac? Yes, he did offer the $1 million, but it was Tupac jumping Orlando Anderson that really caused the situation, right? Well, Keefe disagrees, as he thinks that Puff is to blame.
If I wouldn't have never met him, I wouldn't have never been involved in this. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, man. So you feel like Puffy, he's the reason for your empire and Suge's empire going down because of the whole situation with Tupac.
Exactly. He the only one still balling because he pitted us against each other, it seemed like.
But what do you guys think? Is Puff responsible for the loss of Tupac, or is Keefe D a grown man not taking responsibility for his actions? Well, if you ask Diddy, he'll tell you that he had nothing to do with it.
Now, it was this documentary that claimed, which we know wasn't true.
Yeah, we don't talk about things that are nonsense. We don't even entertain nonsense, my brother. So we're not even going to even go there, with all due respect. But no,
Which we never believed, by the way.
Yeah, thank you.
Regardless of what you believe, the truth is that Puff was becoming the boogeyman of the rap game. With Big Jake and now Pac gone, Puff felt like nobody could mess with him. His violent ways were just starting, and that takes us to the next chapter of the story. After the passing of Tupac, Puff went about his life like nothing had happened. But for whatever reason, his bad boy artists were not so secure in their ways. In fact, they were very cautious of their whereabouts and made sure to avoid California at all costs. Eventually, though, they would have to go back to Cali. And that takes us to the Soul Train Awards of 1997. The awards are held in Los Angeles, and because of this, the bad boy artists do not want to go. In particular, Mace thinks it's too risky, and Biggie decides to not go at all. He happens to have a broken femur, and he tells Puff that he's in too much pain to fly back and forth. He also mentions that going to LA is not the best idea, which is really the real reason. But Puff tells him that he'll be safe and nothing will happen. And according to the bad boy president, Kirk Burroughs, he kept convincing him relentlessly.
We could not go. But Biggie did have an inconvenience. He had a car accident. I think it was in Brooklyn, maybe downtown Brooklyn. He had a broken femur at that time. And he was recovering from that. Big size person, could not really sit comfortably in a plane, not even first class, with a cast on. It was uncomfortable. He was talked into going to the LA portion of the trip.
Strangely though, Puff doesn't care if Biggie goes to the award show, he really just wants him at the after party.
Yo, that whole week, man, Puff was like, yo, man, yo, Big, you got to come to this party, you know, and he wasn't getting the response that he needed from Big to make sure that he was going to the party.
Finally, Biggie caves into Puff and decides to come to LA. But what Puffy doesn't know is that directly after the award show, Biggie will be flying to London. This is because Clive Davis booked him for a major media appearance where he'll be introduced to a worldwide audience. March 7th, 1997. The award show takes place and everything goes smoothly. That's when Biggie tells Puff that he's headed for the airport to fly to London. As you would expect, Puffy is livid, and he calls Clive Davis right away. He tells him to cancel Biggie's appearance in London because he wants him at the party in LA.
But it was put together so that Biggie could receive an international press junket in London with all press from around the world meeting him that Saturday, Sunday, after the Friday award show night. Diddy called late Friday night saying, he's not going to London. Call Arista, cancel it. You go. You represent it. You go. He's not going. He wants to stay here in LA. So we knew how big of an event that could be.
Strange, right? Wouldn't you want your artist to fulfill this amazing opportunity? Making him skip out on a worldwide appearance just so he could go to some silly party? It doesn't quite make sense. On top of this, earlier in the day, Mace warned him that some guys might be coming after them.
They was telling them that they wanted Big and Puff, and he was all right. He was good. Me and Mace spoke, and then he was telling me all them bloods and everything that was out there.
If this wasn't enough, Gene Deal informed him as well.
I said, Puff, I got some intel. The guys are coming to kill us tonight at the museum party.
Here was Puff's response.
He said, Gene, I don't want to hear that. He said, you ain't got to go if you don't want to go.
So Puff knew there was a threat and brushed it off. Puff, Big, and most of Bad Boy are at Steve Stout's party in the Hollywood Hills. At 12:30 a.m., LAPD show up to shut down the party due to a noise complaint. Because of this, everyone at the party is forced to go their separate ways. For Biggie, he rolls out with his friends D-Rock, Lil Cease, and his driver G-Money. At 12:45, they stop at a red light on Fairfax and Wilshire. And that's when a Chevy Impala pulls right beside them. The incident shocked the world again, and everyone assumed that this was revenge for Tupac. Now, of course, this may be true, but something that happened directly after is very strange. Puff took a flight to San Diego just 2 hours after Biggie's passing.
Puff went to San Diego and they put him on a jet about 2 hours after Big died.
See, I don't know everything about the world, but what I do know is that when your best friend dies, you don't leave them. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense, and all I can think of is, was Puff involved in the passing of Biggie? Well, his bodyguard, Gene Deal, seems to think so.
You gotta look at what people do, man. You know Pac just got killed. It ain't no kind of business Big was doing. Big couldn't even walk. He couldn't run. Puff ain't want none of that beef. So what I'm going to do is, y'all want the sheep? I'm going to put them out the pasture. Catch them if you can. If you the wolf, if you got that wolf in you, catch them if you can. Why in the hell you would put your man in a situation? There's plenty of places Big could have been. Why the West Coast?
Did Puff sacrifice Biggie in order to stop the beef on the West Coast? You guys tell me. There's no way that Puff would do this to his closest friend and main artist, right? I mean, after his passing, he even released songs to commemorate him. Not to mention that he spoke highly of him in interviews as well.
And as far as my theory, it would be inadequate for me to speculate. I would just be like everybody else to speculate on who did this or why it was done. I mean, one thing I do know is that it was evil. It was ignorant, and it hurts. You know what I'm saying?
What has it been like emotionally for you? I mean, it's a tragedy. Seeing a close friend like that gunned down. What have you been going through?
Honestly, you know, it's been hard. I mean, that's the only way I could describe it. You know, when it wasn't supposed to be like this.
Let's talk about that. Tupac's record's death about 6 months ago kind of showed how vulnerable rap artists are.
Yes.
Did Biggie at all feel that his life was in danger?
He never told me. I can only speak. He never told me he felt that his life was in danger. We always, me and him, we always had conversations, and I'm very close with God, and through our relationship, I was trying to show him how God is his friend, and he was taking in God as his friend. You know, it was a gradual thing.
After seeing this interview, are you guys convinced that Puff had nothing to do with it? Who knows, but wow is all I have to say. But I'm not the only one who feels uneasy. In fact, Bad Boy's second biggest artist felt sick to his stomach. In the height of his rap career, Mace decided to leave Bad Boy and to become a pastor. His relationship with Puff had fallen apart, and they've been arguing over money ever since. So with Biggie and Mace gone, Bad Boy was falling apart at the helm. But leave it up to the genius of Diddy, he would quickly replace their talent. In 1998, Puffy would discover an East Flatbush rapper by the name of Shine Poe. Shine was brought to him by DJ Clark Kent, and he was so impressed that he signed him to a major deal on the spot. The deal was worth millions of dollars, and Shine was given 3 cars and 2 homes. Shine was Diddy's new protege, and it was working out really well. They were quote-unquote best friends, and Puffy had him rolling with him everywhere. Maybe he was a changed man, and this was the artist he was not going to fall out with. Or maybe Sean Combs just is who he is. December 27th, 1999. It's a big night for Shine as his debut album is finally finished and it's ready to drop after New Year's. So to celebrate, Puff takes him out to Club New York in Times Square. It's Puffy, his bodyguard Wolf, the infamous J-Lo, and of course Shine. As they're strolling through the club, Puff accidentally bumps into a man named Matthew Allen, also known as Scar. This is bad because Scar happens to be a notorious street dude from Brooklyn. Well, he instantly turns around after being bumped and sees who it is. He then decides to make a scene and starts yelling at Puff in front of everyone. Then, according to witnesses, he threatens Puff and even threatens Shine as well. He then does the unthinkable. He grabs for his waistband and all hell breaks loose. Shots ring out and everyone runs outside the club. 3 people were injured in the incident, but thankfully everyone made it. But here's where things get interesting.
And this is one of the people that was injured. Wait a minute, let me show you.
And so, here today about this latest lawsuit with the P.Diddy, Puff Daddy, Puffy, Sean Puffy Combs, whatever you want to call him, lawsuit that has come out involving the producer Little Rod. So basically his last 2 lawsuits, or last 2 major lawsuits, the one with Cassie, she made mention that Puffy made her carry his into nightclubs and wherever they went. and he threatened her to make her feel like she had to do so. And while there were lots of things of importance, that stood out to me, and I'm going to tell you why. In this lawsuit with the producer Little Rod, they were both SA'd by him and threatened and physically harmed. But in this lawsuit, he appears to be a very young producer to me. But he said something very specific. As a means of threatening him, Puffy said, that's why I shot up the club in New York back in 1999 and let Shine take the fall for it. Let me tell you why that's of utmost importance to me. Because I am the woman who he shot in the face in that December 27th, 1999, Club New York shooting. I have told everyone ad nauseum since then, even the surgeon who did the surgery to take the bullet. I got shot in my face with a 9mm hollow point bullet called a cop killer. I literally have told everyone and never changed what I said. I watched him. I got pow-powed in the face. I watched him fire the gun. I've said it all this time. Even the surgeon who did my surgery to take out part of the bullet fragments that was aspirating into my lungs and try to remove as many bullet fragments as possible, testified in the criminal trial that while they were putting me under, I was screaming, Puffy, pew pew me in the face. He testified in the criminal trial. It is in the record. They all knew he did it. Everybody knew he did it. But he paid off the club bouncer named Sharice and all these other people and the club owners with their video to hide the video. That's his MO. I told everybody that. This man almost took my life, has traumatized my life, has caused undue harm, irreparable damage to my life, lied his behind off. I've had all these youngins on the internet harassing me, swearing that I'm making it up that he did it. And look what he did to Little Rod. He threatened him. Oh, you don't think I bust my gun? I shot up the club in Club New York and let Shine take the fall for it. I shot them people. Well. It only took 24 whole years for it to come out. You see this tattoo? This commemorates me getting shot. It took 24 years for him to come out and say it. I've been saying it all along, but y'all pick and choose who y'all want to believe. Oh, baby, you ain't seen nothing yet. Not only did he pew me in the face, he also set off a course of harassment against me for the past 24 years. When I tell you the things I went through, there was a time in 2017 and 2018 where I got 7 flats on my BMW. 7, the same tire, in a 2-year span. 7 on the same tire, and they were all new. Every time it happened, I had to get a new tire. I have the pictures to prove it. Harassing me. You want to know why? Because prior to Cassie, I was the only person to be victimized by him and then to successfully sue him and get paid. And he had to pay me out of his pocket. He has never gotten over that. Oh, baby. You see this RICO charge that's about to come? This conspiring and pew-pewing up the club and ruining or attempting to ruin my life? As God is my witness, I will not stop until you suffer every single iota of punishment, until I have every second of recompense that you took from me. For every tear that I had to cry or my children had to cry, I am going to get $1 million back from you. I will not stop until you pay the price for what you did to my life. And for all you people out there on the internet and in cyberspace and in the far reaches of my life or the perimeters or wherever who always like, oh, she just saying that to get some. Hell, what you got to say now? What you got to say now? And so, here today about this latest lawsuit with the P.Diddy, Puff Daddy, Puffy, Sean Puffy Combs, whatever you want to call them, lawsuit that has come out involving the producer Little Rod. So basically his last two lawsuits, or last two major lawsuits, the one with Cassie, she made mention that Puffy made her carry his into nightclubs and wherever they went. And he threatened her to make her feel like she had to do so. And of
What you got to say now? What you got to say now? You ain't got shit to say when you put your girl on the snap. Baby, baby. I mean, shit getting weird. Come on, baby. It's hot outside. You fucking wrapped up in that blanket. Let's go jog on the beach. What you got to say now? What you got to say now? You ain't got shit to say.
They claim
put
this
your girl
is
on the snap.
Cassie.
Baby, baby. I mean, shit getting weird. Come on, baby. It's hot outside. You fucking wrapped up in that blanket. Let's go jog on the beach. What you got to say now? What you got to say now? You ain't got shit to say when you put your girl on the snap. Baby, baby. I mean, shit getting weird. Come on, baby. It's hot outside. You fucking wrapped up in that blanket. Let's go jog on the beach. What you got to say now? What you got to say now? You ain't got shit to say when you put your girl on the snap. Baby, baby. I mean, shit.
Went straight to the police. He told them that both Puff and Shine targeted him. So the next morning, Sean and Shine were both arrested. Could this be the incident that finally takes Puff down? Puff hired the two best lawyers in America, Johnny Cochran and Ben Brofman. But of course, Bad Boy did not provide a good lawyer for Shine. Either way, both of them were facing major time in New York prison. So here's how it went. For Puffy, his amazing lawyers worked hard and he was found not guilty on any charges. For Shine, though, his case went completely differently. He admitted to letting a shot off in the air, but says that he was not the one responsible for the 3 victims. However, the jury didn't believe him and he was sentenced to 9 years in prison. Shine felt betrayed by Puff during the trial. That's because in his eyes, he saved Puffy's life and Jennifer Lopez's. On top of this, he claims that Puffy sent a witness to testify against him in order to take the blame off himself.
People probably have the impression that you're just consumed with the idea that, you know, justice wasn't served here and that somebody turned his back on you.
It's not a matter of, turning your back on me. Like, how do you call a witness?
And this is crazy because Sean said Diddy called the witness at the trial to discredit Sean. And that's how Sean was, basically guilty. So Diddy got off. He called the witness to basically say he seen Sean as the shooter. And Diddy got off from the shooting of the lady who just said she got pop out. But my thing with her is, you got money. I'm not saying what happened to her was right, but she definitely sued and she got paid. So now you coming out saying you because of Lil Rod, but apparently if you sued Diddy and got money, then that's almost like saying, he did it. Even though Sean did the time for it. So I don't understand why she coming out now, if it's for more money or she want him to go to jail. But he could have went to jail. You chose for the money. That's why I'm saying these people crack me up with that. And then after they run out the money, they come back again, and now they want to, I guess, get more money or whatever the case may be. But y'all heard her say she got paid real good.
To testify against your comrade. But I'm facing 25 years, and you looking at probation. Yeah, those are the things that you understand are unacceptable. You don't have to hold my hand. You don't have to do nothing, but don't try to hurt me. Where he calling the witnesses, to do me dirty. Then you understand that well, man, if these guys is working for him, because I went to the judge like 3 times complaining about inefficiency with my lawyers. They was just dumbing out.
So now, did Puffy sacrifice Shine so he could dodge a prison sentence himself? Well, of course, Gene Deal seems to think so.
And Sean know he had put people up to testify against him and all that. Ain't no way somebody gonna send me to jail for 10 years when we all could have walked away. Sean know what I'm talking about.
If this is all true, then it's another example of Puffy being disloyal to those he calls his friends. It seems like everyone else is disposable when his is on the line. Or you could look at it like this. In his defense, he had a lot on the line and he did what he had to do to be free. Either way you look at it, this is a major stain on the story of Sean Combs. After he won his case, Puff decided to wash away his past and start with a new persona. So the first thing he did was change his stage name to P.Diddy, or Diddy for short. Some interpret his name change as him trying to leave his old ways behind. Puff represented how angry he was as a kid, and anger led to so much destruction in his life. P. Diddy would now be the level-headed businessman, or at least that was the plan. After all of this drama and loss, he wanted Bad Boy Records to restart their success. But now without Craig Mack, Biggie, Ace, and Shine, Diddy needed some new talent. So of course, the musical genius went out looking for his next star. Diddy's strange recruiting tactics. First, he wanted to sign a talented underground rapper by the name of 50 Cent, but 50 recalls what he believes is strange recruiting tactics, like possibly Clive Davis, Andre Harrell activities. West Coast rapper Exhibit had a similar story as well.
I heard you tell a story before about how Puffy, he took you to a club before, and you seen a whole lot of man kissing, and you seen a whole lot of weird stuff going on. Man, I ain't gonna touch that, man. It's been talked about. Shout out to Puffy. Love, you know what I'm saying? All good. We go leave that alone, man. That shit put to bed. Done.
Now, these two stories could mean absolutely nothing, and that's why I really didn't even want to include them. But this next part is pretty crazy. The year is 2003, and Diddy is looking to sign new artists. But in this case, an artist comes to his desk looking for a deal. This would be New Jack City actor and R&B singer Christopher Williams. Long story short, Christopher got a deal from Bad Boy, but how it happened is the real story. According to Jaguar Wright, the old rituals came back around. She claims that Diddy's lawyer walked into his office and witnessed Christopher Williams giving him favors.
I think it was like 2003. There was a young woman. She's a lawyer. Or at least she was. She used to be an entertainment lawyer. I hope I won't be putting her in danger. While she was working at Bad Boy, because she was one of the lead counsels for Bad Boy Entertainment, she witnessed something. She witnessed something that was disturbing to her. But what was really disturbing to her was the conversation that she had with Diddy after. See, Christopher Williams, I don't know, I guess he wanted to sign. I don't know what happened. But Puff was supposed to be giving him a demo deal, and he gave him a demo deal, and I guess it was supposed to turn into an album deal, which that never happened. But this young woman walked in to get approval on some paperwork. See, and when she walked in, the door wasn't locked, so she didn't think twice about just walking in. And when she walked in,